The soldier swept his light across the empty rooms. Nothing moved. Dust. Silence. He was about to call off the search when the dog froze at the attic hatch. Its ears twitched, eyes fixed. Then, through the boards above them, a faint whisper bled down. "I'm still in the attic." Wind had stripped the street of sounds that weren't its own, but inside the house everything went quiet, so quiet the soldier could hear the damp ticking of the cooling stove in the next room and the soft pad of water somewhere behind a wall. He pushed the door the rest of the way with a shoulder, raised his light, and let the beam crawl across plaster and picture frames tilted by the earlier tremor. The German shepherd at his knee moved with him like a shadow, wet coat, clipped nails, breath steady. When the light found the hallway, the dog stopped. "Easy," the soldier said, low. It wasn't a command so much as a wire between them. The hallway was narrow, the kind builders ran through the middle of old houses so bedrooms could branch off like ribs. Wallpaper peeled in waves. The beam caught the square outline of an attic hatch centered above a runner rug ground dark by years of feet. No pull cord hung. Just a seam in the ceiling and 4 screws that hadn't seen a hand in a long time. The dog lifted his nose and froze, body stacked over his front paws, tail down, ears cut forward so sharply they almost quivered. "Show me," the soldier murmured. The shepherd stepped once, then locked again, eyes vertical on the square of ceiling. He didn't whine, that wasn't trained into him, but the soldier felt the tremor through the leash. He opened his hand and let the line slip loose, giving the dog the slack that meant "I'm listening too." "Unit 4 inside," he said into his radio, keeping it low. "Primary structure stable, light interior damage. K9 indicates overhead space. Possible person in attic. Hold exterior noise." A beat of static, then his partner outside, "Copy. We're quiet." He shut the radio and let the house talk instead. Olderwood spoke with small voices, settling, drying, remembering weight. He swept the light into each doorway off the hall. A bedroom slept with the bed still made. Another had a lamp overturned and books fanned across the floor. A small bathroom sink ran a thin thread that had never found off, adding the only movement that wasn't the dog. He stepped beneath the hatch and killed the light. Darkness fell so completely he felt it on his cheeks. In the dark, the dog's breath became the metronome, his own the echo. He closed his eyes and let his ears do what eyes couldn't. At first, nothing. Then a sound like dry paper moving. Then, so faint he could have mistaken it for wind in the old slate roof, a shape of words. "I'm still in the attic." The beam snapped back on, not because he was startled but because light could make a liar out of fear. He held the circle steady on the hatch seam. Dust wandered through the cone, turning slowly as if pulled by water he couldn't see. The soldier set his pack down against the wall, unzipped the flap, and drew out a small pry bar, a folding step, a painter's mask. He looked at the dog. "Sit." The shepherd lowered like a poured weight and held. He clicked his radio once, I heard voice. It was enough. His partner wouldn't clutter the hallway with a return click that might carry up through the old plaster. "Call out again," he said, not loud. Old houses didn't reward yelling, they swallowed it. "Tell me your name." For a heartbeat the house went back to breathing. The dog's ears twitched once. "I'm here." The voice broke on the second word. It had the shape of a girl's voice, but fear pulled age out of it. "Up here." "What's your name?" he asked again, tone even, because panic borrowed its pitch from the person who spoke to it. "A swallow." He heard it as a small click. "Lena." "Okay, Lena." He slid the painter's mask up under his nose, rested the pry bar head in his palm. "I'm going to open the door. I need you to move away from it if you can. Can you do that?" "Yes." Not a whisper this time. A thread. He set the folding step beneath the hatch, tested the legs with his boot, climbed to the top. The pry bar slipped neatly into the seam near the front screw. He leaned his forearm against the ceiling to take load before he applied pressure. Never tear, never jolt, not with unknown wiring and dust that could choke faster than a hand. The bar creaked a little, a dry tick that sounded louder and quiet. 3 shallow breaths, he told himself, and took them. On the 4th he levered. The seam lifted a fraction. Dust fell on a slow gray sheet, and he turned his face aside so it washed across his shoulder instead of into his eyes. He backed pressure off as soon as he felt the nail heads complain. Old wood broke like memory, cleanly if you forced it, but there was always a cost. Back from the edge, Lena, he said. Okay. He moved the bar to the opposite corner and did the same, the ceiling board flexing under his hand. He could feel the temperature difference through the glove, a colder layer above, still air. He tapped the hatch lightly with his knuckles and listened to the echo. Shallow void. Not much space. The step wobbled as the dog's weight shifted below. The soldier glanced down. The shepherd was standing now, not out of disobedience but because hearts didn't sit when they heard voices. The leash hung slack, the dog's eyes bright with obligation. Stay, he said, and the dog settled by will. From above, wood whispered against wood, Lena moving back. He pictured a girl on her elbows, scooting, careful to keep weight on the plank edges and not the drywall. Too many fall-through rescues had started with that misstep. Any pain? He asked. A pause. My knee. And, my head feels big. Dizzy? A little. Any smell? Gas? Smoke? No, the O stretched before she caught it. He eased more lift into the hatch. The first screw gave a hiss, then came away with a sigh like a door relieved of its job. He let the board rest on the pry bar head, climbed down, and slid the step to the hallway closet. Inside, past coats that still held a human heat at their shoulders that would outlast the family that wore them, he found a wooden chair, old, heavier than it looked. He dragged it under the hatch and set it behind the step, a backup if the step wanted to fold. He climbed again, sat his shoulder into the hatch board, and pressed. It lifted enough to clear the frame and tilt. Cold air kissed the sweat at his hairline. He let the hatch settle on his forearm so it wouldn't slam the other side and send Lena startled back into a bad place. Then he shifted the board and leaned it against the hinge. The attic opening yawned a pale square in the ceiling. He raised the light and let it just rim the void. Dust drifted in constellations. Timber ran like ribs. There wasn't a built ladder. Just joists spaced for someone light and careful. The dog's nails clicked once against the runner in impatience. He liked roofs as little as the soldier did. Lena, I'm going to put my head up. I don't want to blind you. I'm going to sweep low. Tell me if the light hurts. It's okay. He took the light off his rifle, clipped it to the brim of his helmet so both hands stayed open, and brought his eyes to the hatch. He didn't rise fully, only enough to look along the plane of the attic floor. He kept the beam low, catching angles, not faces. A child's backpack lay near the far knee wall. A line of string lights had fallen, a few bulbs broken into bright sugar. The insulation between joists had been pushed aside in places to make tracks. One corner held a crate with blankets half pulled from it. He let the beam move slow, like turning pages, until it found 2 bare toes curled over a joist to his right. Got you, he said quietly, more to himself than to her. The toes flexed. A hissed intake. The soldier slid the light a fraction up and saw her hands, small, scraped, white at the knuckles where she held the wood. He kept the light there, low, so she could see his hands, too. He let her watch him watch her. You did the right thing staying on the wood, he said. Don't step on the white parts. That's just sealing. It won't hold. Okay. The word came out like a frost that cracked as it left her. Can you move your knee? Hurts. Then you don't. I'll come to you. He climbed down, took a coil of short webbing from his pack, clipped one end to his belt and the other to the chair rung, just enough to tell the world you don't get to keep me if I drop. He checked the dog with a palm to his chest. The shepherd leaned into it, a touch more pressure than comfort. I'm going up, the soldier said softly. Hold here. The dog lay by the chair, pressed to the leg like he meant to be its shadow. He turned his head up and waited, eyes on the soldier's face. If the soldier changed the shape of his mouth, the dog would know to bark. The soldier took the first joist like a rung, weight centered, toes searching before they took. He moved the light in front of his hand and then moved his hand to where the light had been, a slow crawl that kept his center over strength. The attic breathed his dust back at him. He tasted lath and old mouse in a winter that never left. Boards creaked in question and then in assent. I'm still in the attic, Lena said again, but this time it sounded less like a message sent into a void and more like a marker laid down on a map both of them could see. I know, he said. I'm here. He stopped 2 joists away and chose his next words with the care of his next step. There anyone else in the house? Silence held a second too long. Then, I don't want him to find me. He let that sit. He won't, he said, and felt the weight of promise leave his chest as he gave it. He put his hand out over open space, settled fingers around the joist edge near her foot. On my count, you're going to slide your hands to me. I'll take your weight until I have your knee wrapped. Then we move one board at a time. No rush. Below, the dog whuffed once, quiet, a contained sound that meant hurry but don't change the way you move. The soldier nodded like the dog could see his jaw. On 3, he said to the girl. 1. He shifted his hips, locked his boots, and waited for her hands to find his. 2. He saw the small muscles in her forearms jump as she readied. 3. Her fingers slid, skin chafed, grip surprising and ferocious as it closed around his wrist. The attic gave a small, complaining sound, the kind old houses made when they remembered how to keep people. He took her weight. The joists groaned beneath his weight, but he moved with the slow certainty of someone who had done this 100 times in structures more unstable than this. The beam of his helmet light swept a line across the attic, insulation scattered in tufts, splintered boards, an overturned lamp. Lena's fingers clutched his wrist like a lifeline. Good grip, he whispered. You don't let go until I tell you. I won't. Her voice trembled but carried a grit that made him pause. Children didn't cling to promises unless they'd been forced to learn the hard way. He shifted closer, one joist at a time. Dust clouded at each movement, swirling like smoke before his mask filter caught it. His knees protested as he balanced on narrow beams, but he pushed the discomfort away. The priority was her. Always her. Below, a single bark echoed up the hatch. Not sharp, not warning, just a reminder, I'm here. The dog never liked being left behind, but his training held. The soldier pictured him lying pressed against the chair leg, eyes fixed upward, body coiled. Almost got you, Lena. He reached the final gap. His hand slid to the webbing he'd clipped to his belt, feeding a length toward her. Wrap this around your wrist. Her small hands fumbled, but he guided her fingers, steadying her. She pulled the strap tight, and he locked the buckle with a practiced snap. Now I've got you, he said. For the first time, she looked up. Her face appeared in the edge of his light, dust streaked across cheeks, hair matted, a bruise rising dark above her temple. Her eyes were wide, not with panic now, but with the fragile relief of being seen. Can you move your leg? He asked. She shook her head. It hurts too much. Then we carry you. He crouched lower, bracing himself. I'll slide you across the beams. You stay still. Her lips parted, but instead of fear she whispered something else. He's still here. The soldier froze. His chest tightened. Who? Her eyes flicked to the far corner of the attic, where the light didn't reach. Shadows pooled thick there, boards stacked high. He swept a beam across it, slow. Just debris. Just lumber. Did you see someone? He pressed. Her voice was so faint he almost missed it. He was here before you came. That's why I stayed quiet. The soldier's gut nodded. He forced calm into his tone. He's not here now. Just us. She looked back at him, a sharpness in her gaze he didn't expect. That's what he wants you to think. The air felt heavier suddenly, thicker. He glanced down through the hatch. The dog was on his feet now, body rigid, ears forward, a low growl trapped in his throat. The soldier whispered down, "Stay." But the growl didn't stop. Something in the house shifted, a faint creak, not from the attic, but from the floorboards below. It wasn't wind. It wasn't the house settling. It was weight. Moving. The soldier held Lena's wrist tighter. Listen to me. We're going to move, right now. No noise, no talking. Her breath hitched. She nodded. He slid one arm under her shoulders, careful of her knee, and lifted just enough to shift her weight across to his chest. She was lighter than he expected, but the way she trembled told him every nerve in her body screamed pain. Step by step, he inched backward, balancing them both across the joists. The webbing line traced behind him, slack but ready. Dust rose in sheets. His breath rasped behind the mask. Below, the dog barked once, sharp this time. Urgent. The soldier froze. The bark wasn't at him. It was at the hallway. Then came the sound. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, pacing across the lower floor. 1. 2. A pause. Then 3. He clutched Lena tighter. She whispered against his chest, voice cracking. He's still here. The soldier forced calm. Not for long. He edged back to the hatch, muscles burning. The dog's growl deepened, vibrating the air. As he reached the opening, he heard it, faint, above the footsteps. A whisper. Not Lena's. Not his. I'm still in the attic. The soldier's chest turned to ice. His light caught empty beams behind him, nothing more. He knew her voice had come from his arms. So what had whispered now? He lowered Lena toward the hatch, steadying her with one arm. Claire, he hissed into the radio, voice tight. Movement inside. Possible hostile. I need backup at the door, now. Static. Then, on our way. The soldier slid Lena toward the hatch opening, the dog leaping up, teeth bared, as if to catch anyone who dared come close. The house groaned again, floorboards below shifting, the weight of someone, or something, circling. He crouched at the opening, every sense sharpened. His mission was clear, get the girl out, trust the dog's instincts. But the whisper still threaded the air, thin as dust. I'm still in the attic. The attic hatch yawned open, square of pale light falling across the hallway below. The soldier crouched at the edge, Lena clutched against his chest, her breath shallow and rapid. The German shepherd stood stiff-legged under the opening, hackles bristling, eyes locked not on him but on the dark end of the corridor beyond. Easy, the soldier whispered down, though the command was meant as much for himself as for the dog. The shepherd's throat rumbled. Another footstep creaked from below. Slow. Deliberate. From the living room side of the house. The weight carried authority, too heavy for a child, too measured for accident. The soldier froze. He pressed his helmet light against his chest to shield it, cutting the attic into deeper shadow. Silence stretched thin. Then, another step. Closer. Lena whimpered against his chest. He leaned close, voice steady. Quiet now. Almost there. I told you, she whispered back, every word a tremor. He's still here. The soldier lowered her carefully, guiding her legs through the hatch. The dog rose on hind legs, bracing paws against the wall, muzzle lifted to catch her weight. He steadied her until her feet touched the top rung of the folding step below. Hold tight, the soldier murmured. One rung at a time. She clung to the frame, shaking. The dog pressed close, shoulders brushing her knees, his body a shield. Another step echoed from below, closer still. This time followed by a drag, like something heavy scraped across the floor. The soldier's pulse hammered. He swung down after her, boots hitting the hallway rug with barely a sound. He steadied Lena with one arm, sidearm drawn with the other. The beam of his light cut across the hallway, illuminating peeling wallpaper and old family portraits askew on the wall. No figure. Just shadows pooling thick in doorways. The radio hissed. His partner's voice, clipped, 2 minutes out. Copy, the soldier whispered back. But 2 minutes felt like 2 lifetimes. The dog snarled suddenly, sharp and guttural, snapping the silence like glass breaking. His body angled toward the living room. The soldier turned the light, catching just a flicker. A shape sliding back into shadow, gone before the beam could pin it. Show yourself, the soldier barked, voice filling the hall. No answer. Just the old house breathing. Lena clutched his sleeve, whispering so faintly he had to bend to hear. Don't yell. He doesn't like it. The words crawled up his spine. What does he want? Her lips trembled. For me to stay. Another step. This one directly in the living room doorway now. The soldier raised his weapon, heart racing. He forced his breathing to steady, eyes trained on the darkness. The dog lunged forward 2 steps, teeth bared, growl vibrating the floorboards. The leash snapped taut in the soldier's hand. He tightened his grip. Hold! The growl didn't stop. The shepherd's eyes burned on the darkness, unblinking. Then, from the living room, a whisper. Calm. Close. I'm still in the attic. The soldier's chest seized. The words weren't Lena's. They couldn't be. She was at his side, clutching his arm. He could feel her tremble. He could hear her breath. He scanned the hall again, empty. Yet the whisper lingered, threading the air like smoke. Lena pressed her face into his sleeve. He knows you're here. The soldier steadied his weapon with both hands, light fixed on the doorway. We're leaving. Now. He backed toward the front door, guiding Lena with one hand while the other covered their retreat. The dog moved low, head angled, growl steady. Another step echoed behind them now, from the kitchen. Too close. The soldier pivoted, light swinging. The kitchen entry gaped black, counters just visible at the edge of the beam. Empty. But the sound had been real. A new whisper drifted out, this one from the dark above them, as if the attic itself still spoke. I'm still in the attic. Lena sobbed, muffling it against his jacket. He won't let me go. The soldier pulled her closer, voice firm. He already has. The shepherd barked once, explosive, echoing through the house. It was the signal he only used when threat was undeniable. The soldier's finger tightened on the trigger. At that moment, headlights swept across the front window, his partner's truck pulling in. Relief surged, but it was thin, fragile. Because the footsteps hadn't stopped. They were pacing now. First in the living room. Then the kitchen. Then overhead again, back in the attic they had just left. Moving too quickly, too impossibly, as if the house itself carried them. The soldier tightened his grip on Lena's arm. Out. Now. But even as he moved her toward the door, the last whisper chased them, threaded into the storm outside. You can't take her. She's still in the attic. Headlights cut across the cracked blinds, washing pale stripes over the hallway walls. Tires crunched gravel outside. The shepherd stopped snarling long enough to look at the window, tail rigid, ears flat. "Backup's here," the soldier muttered. He tightened his grip on Lena's shoulder. "We're moving." He angled her toward the door, boots silent on the worn runner rug. Each step was slow, measured, because the footsteps upstairs had stopped. That silence pressed heavier than sound. The shepherd pressed close, body grazing Lena's knees as if to shepherd her out. The front door rattled twice, 2 sharp knocks, the signal. "Unit 4, came the voice from outside. His partner, Alvarez. Familiar, steady. "Open up." Relief surged through the soldier's chest. He reached for the knob. The shepherd lunged suddenly, teeth snapping inches from his hand. A guttural growl ripped out, deeper than before. "Easy," the soldier hissed. But the dog's eyes weren't on the door, they were fixed on the stairs. Lena whimpered, clutching his sleeve. "Don't open it. Please don't." The soldier froze, caught between instincts. Partner's voice. Dog's refusal. Child's fear. Another knock. Harder this time. "Open the door, it's me." He tightened his grip on the handle. "Alvarez, confirm code." A pause. Too long. Then, "We don't have time for codes. Just open it." The soldier's gut twisted. Alvarez had never skipped protocol, not once. The shepherd barked, savage, jerking toward the stairs. And from upstairs, the whisper again. Calm. Familiar. "I'm still in the attic." The soldier's chest went cold. He had Lena right here, shaking in his arms. So who, or what, was still above them? The door rattled harder, as if someone leaned full weight into it. "Open the damn door." Alvarez's voice strained now, urgent. But the soldier didn't move. He drew Lena back a step, weapon raised. "Alvarez, last chance. Give me the code." Silence. Then, softly, "I'm still in the attic." The words came from the other side of the door. The shepherd exploded, barking so violently it shook the walls. He lunged at the door, teeth gnashing wood. His body blocked the soldier's every attempt to reach the lock. The soldier stepped back, dragging Lena with him. "Stay behind me," he whispered. The knob twisted violently. The door shook against the frame. Lena buried her face in his jacket. "Don't let him in." Upstairs, footsteps started again, running this time, racing across the attic boards. The soldier's radio crackled on his vest. Alvarez's real voice, ragged, "I'm still 2 blocks out. Hold your position." The soldier froze. His eyes flicked to the door. To the knob twisting under invisible hands. To the dog frothing at the seams, every muscle screaming threat. Whoever stood outside wasn't Alvarez. He raised his weapon at the door, steady now. "You're not coming in." The rattling stopped. Just like that. Silence. The shepherd growled low, pacing between the stairs and the door, head whipping back and forth. Then Lena whispered, barely audible, but certain. "He's already inside." The soldier's stomach dropped. Because even as she spoke, the radio hissed once more. Soft. Calm. Too close. "I'm still in the attic." The soldier's hands tightened on his weapon. For the first time in a long career, he realized he didn't know which way was out. The hallway felt like it was shrinking, walls inching closer, air pressing thicker. The front door no longer rattled, but its silence was worse, like a hunter waiting for the prey to move first. Above, the attic floorboards groaned in uneven steps, circling, always above their heads. The soldier adjusted his grip on Lena's shoulder. She was trembling so badly it felt like a vibration running through his arm. The shepherd paced in a tight line, growl never breaking, head flicking between the door and the stairs. His body was pulled in two directions, instinct torn. The soldier drew in a slow breath. "We moved to the rear exit." His voice was steady, even though his chest burned with tension. "No." Lena's whisper cut sharp. "Not the back. He waits there." The soldier crouched to meet her eyes. "How do you know that?" She shook her head, hair sticking to her tear-streaked face. "Because that's where he came in before." The shepherd snapped his teeth at the empty stairwell, as if answering for her. The soldier's radio hissed again. Alvarez's voice, one block out. "I've got two with me. Lights off until you signal." He almost answered, thumb ready on the transmit. But then, through the same radio, layered over Alvarez's words, another whisper, soft, calm. "I'm still in the attic." The soldier froze. Alvarez's voice had come from the channel. The whisper had come from nowhere. He shut the radio off completely. Better silence than confusion. "Listen to me," he told Lena. "We're leaving, but I need you to stay quiet, no matter what you hear. Understand?" She nodded weakly. The soldier motioned the shepherd forward. The dog obeyed, nose low, body taut. They crept toward the stairwell. Every board beneath their boots seemed to scream. The old house betrayed each step, the creaks echoing upward into the attic void. Above, the footsteps stopped. Silence rained down heavy. They reached the bottom of the stairs. The shepherd froze, paw lifted, body rigid. His ears pressed flat, nose angled upward. The growl that rolled out of him was deep, primal. The soldier raised his light. Slowly. The beam hit the attic opening at the top of the stairs. And there, half seen through dust motes, a figure crouched at the opening, too still, too silent. Watching. The soldier's finger tightened on the trigger. Lena whimpered, clutching his jacket. "Don't look at him." The figure moved, not down, not forward, but back, sliding into the darkness above like smoke. The soldier forced himself to breathe. He stepped back, guiding Lena with him, the shepherd retreating one step at a time. Then, bang. The front door slammed once, so hard the frame shuddered. Dust rained from the ceiling. Lena screamed. The shepherd spun, barking ferociously, body between them and the door. The soldier's mind raced. Front door blocked. Back exit dangerous. Attic alive. Every path closed. He pressed his back to the wall, voice low, measured. "Stay with me. Stay low." Lena clung tighter, her whisper shaking. "You can't get out. He won't let you." The soldier swallowed the fear clawing his throat. "I don't ask permission." The shepherd's bark broke into a snarl, deeper, closer to rage. His gaze locked on the attic hatch again, teeth flashing in the beam of the light. The soldier aimed high, finger firm on the trigger. His breath came steady now. "If he wants her, he'll have to come through me." Silence fell again. A silence so complete it rang in his ears. Then the whisper came once more, weaving through the air as though it was spoken from every wall at once. "She's still in the attic." The soldier's chest tightened. He looked at Lena. She was right here, clutching his sleeve, shaking with fear. So who was still upstairs? The shepherd barked once, sharp and urgent, the signal for imminent contact. And in that moment, the soldier realized this house wasn't just holding one truth. It was holding two. And only one could be real. The soldier's chest eased just slightly when the crunch of boots on gravel reached through the cracked window. Alvarez's voice cut low across the night, "Unit 4, on approach. 2 with me." The shepherd's bark dropped into a steady growl, body pressed to the soldier's thigh as if to remind him, don't relax yet. Stay sharp, the soldier muttered, sweeping the beam up the stairwell once more. Empty. Dust drifting in the light. But he couldn't shake the image of that figure crouched at the hatch just minutes before. The front door rattled. A sharp knock. Then Alvarez's voice again, "Open up." Code black, 4-2. The soldier exhaled through clenched teeth. Code confirmed. Relief tried to creep in, but the shepherd didn't budge. His growl deepened. "Stand down," the soldier whispered to him, but the dog's body stayed coiled, eyes fixed on the door. He turned the knob slowly. The hinges groaned. The door swung inward. Alvarez stood there, rifle low, two more soldiers behind him, faces drawn tight against the night. "Jesus, Morgan," Alvarez muttered, stepping in, eyes scanning the hallway. "You sound like you're chasing ghosts in here." "Maybe I am," Morgan said flatly. He nudged Lena forward so they could see her. "Found her in the attic. She says she wasn't alone." Alvarez crouched, offering a steady hand. "Hey, kid. You're safe now." But Lena shrank back, clinging tighter to Morgan's sleeve. "Don't trust him." The words came out sharp, cutting the hall in half. Alvarez frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" Morgan studied her face. Her fear wasn't random. It was pointed. Specific. He glanced at Alvarez. His partner's eyes were steady, his breathing calm. Still, the unease lodged deep. One of the backup soldiers muttered, "We clear this place or what?" "Top to bottom," Morgan said. His voice carried command, though his gut churned. "Dog leads." The shepherd surged forward, nose high, every step reluctant. His nails scraped across the runner rug as he led them toward the stairwell. He paused at the first step, growl vibrating again. Morgan raised his rifle, light fixed on the attic hatch. "Alvarez, cover rear. If anything moves behind us, you call it." "Copy." They climbed. Each step groaned like a warning. The dust shifted down in faint showers. Halfway up, the shepherd stopped dead, front paws braced, nose pointing at the hatch. His throat rumbled like distant thunder. "Attic," Morgan whispered. The backup soldier closest to him shook his head. "That's nothing but dust and rats." Then the whisper came. Clear. Sharp. From directly above the hatch. "I'm still in the attic." Every man froze. The words seemed to crawl under their helmets. Alvarez swung his light up, beam stabbing through the opening. Nothing but insulation and wood. "Empty." "Contact," he barked. "Negative," Morgan said, though his voice was tight. Lena tugged on his sleeve, eyes wide, pleading. "Don't go back up there." The backup soldier scoffed. "Kid's spooked." "I'll clear it." He started up, boots heavy. The shepherd snapped, lunging at his leg, teeth stopping just short of fabric. Snarl ripping out like a warning shot. "Control your dog," the soldier snapped. Morgan yanked the leash back, but his gut screamed. The dog had never bitten friendly. Never. "Hold position," Morgan ordered. Silence pressed down again. Thick. Alive. Then, footsteps. Directly above. Pacing. Heavy enough to shake dust loose in streams. Alvarez's jaw tightened. "There's someone up there." "No one should have made it past perimeter," Morgan said. The backup soldier cursed, raising his rifle. "Enough. I'm breaching." He slammed the butt of his weapon against the hatch board. The attic roared back with a crack like splitting timber. The house shuddered. Lena screamed, clutching Morgan's arm. "Stop. Don't make him angry." The shepherd lunged again, barking so ferociously it rattled the walls. Then, from the dark above, the whisper rolled out again. Louder this time. Layered. She's still in the attic. Every man on the stairs froze. Morgan's heart slammed. He looked at Lena. She was right there, clinging to him, crying into his sleeve. So who, or what, was the whisper talking about? The stairwell groaned under the weight of 5 bodies stacked on narrow steps. Dust sifted from the attic hatch, catching the beams of their lights like falling ash. The shepherd strained on the leash, claws scraping wood, teeth bared toward the opening. His bark had broken into something more primal, a roar in canine form, fury and terror tangled. "Stand down," Morgan hissed, voice edged with iron. But the dog didn't break. Instinct told him something the men couldn't see. The backup soldier at the front snarled back. "I'm breaching, orders or not." He slammed the butt of his rifle into the hatch again. Wood cracked, hinge screws groaned, and the whole ceiling shuddered. Then, the whisper. Louder. Layered. As if spoken by more than one mouth at once. "She's still in the attic." Lena screamed, hands clamped over her ears. "No, no, no," she sobbed, collapsing against Morgan's chest. Morgan steadied her with one arm, rifle firm in the other. He looked up and froze. Because the hatch wasn't just shaking. It was bowing. Swelling downward like something pressed against it from above. Nails screamed in protest. Dust poured in rivulets. "Back!" Morgan barked. "Everyone back!" The soldier at the front ignored him. He shoved the barrel of his weapon into the seam, forcing it. The hatch split, one hinge snapping loose. And then it blew open. A rain of dust, insulation, and broken wood cascaded down over them. The stairwell filled with choking white, light scattering beams across chaos. Men coughed, shouted. The shepherd leapt against the leash, savage, snapping at the void. Through the dust, footsteps thundered above. Not one set. Several. Heavy. Racing back and forth across the attic. Boards screamed with their weight. Morgan shoved Lena against the wall, shielding her with his body. He raised his rifle toward the opening. "Show yourself." But there was nothing to see, just the hollow black throat of the attic, yawning wider, swallowing their light. Then came the whispers. Not one. Dozens. Overlapping, crashing into each other, the same phrase tearing through the air from every direction. "She's still in the attic. She's still in the attic. She's still in the attic." The sound battered the walls, rattled picture frames, shook dust loose from beams. It drilled into their helmets, their teeth, their skulls. One of the backup soldiers screamed, clutching his head. "Make it stop." His rifle clattered down the stairs. The shepherd lunged again, leash straining so violently Morgan nearly lost his grip. The dog wasn't barking anymore, he was shrieking, desperate to reach the source. Morgan's own voice tore out, raw. "Cease fire. Hold position." But discipline cracked. The soldier nearest the hatch fired. A single shot. The muzzle flash lit the stairwell like lightning. The bullet ripped upward into the void. And then, silence. Not a breath. Not a creak. Not a whisper. Dust drifted down in lazy swirls. The air grew so still it felt wrong. Every man froze. Sweat traced cold lines beneath their gear. Morgan's finger trembled on the trigger. He waited for footsteps. For whispers. For anything. Then, soft. So soft he thought he imagined it. A child's voice. From the attic. "I'm here." Lena stiffened in his arms. Slowly, she lifted her head. Her eyes widened in horror. "That's me." Morgan's throat seized. He looked at her, dust-streaked, trembling, clutching him. Real. Solid. Yet the voice above repeated, stronger. I'm here. And this time, it was identical. The same tone. The same breath. Lena's voice, copied perfectly. The shepherd went wild, hurling himself at the open hatch, leash straining, teeth snapping at empty air. Alvarez's face had drained pale. Morgan, what the hell is this? Morgan's chest thundered. Move her out. Now. But Lena clutched him harder, eyes wild. Don't let me go. If you leave me, he keeps me. The stairs shook violently, as though something massive had dropped in the attic above. Plaster cracked along the hallway ceiling. And then, clear, layered over Lena's desperate pleas. She's still in the attic. The stairwell still swam with dust, every breath a scrape of grit in the lungs. Flashlights swept wild arcs, beams swallowed by haze. The shepherd raged at the hatch, leash straining so violently Morgan's arm felt it tear at the socket. Above, the attic boomed with steps. Heavy, frantic. Yet when the light stabbed upward, nothing moved but dust. Then the voice came again. Clear. Calm. The exact sound of Lena's. I'm here. Morgan felt the girl clutch tighter against his vest. Her real breath trembled against his chest. But the words echoed from above. Identical. Perfect. Alvarez cursed under his breath. Tell me I'm not hearing this. You're hearing it, Morgan muttered, eyes locked on the hatch. Another voice followed, layered over the first. Same pitch. Same tremor. Lena again. I'm still in the attic. The girl in his arms sobbed. That's not me. Don't believe it. The soldiers behind them shifted, panic leaking through their training. One muttered, Jesus Christ, it's a trick. Another hissed, shut up, shut up. Morgan steadied his breathing. He had seen panic eat teams alive faster than bullets. Focus, he barked. Eyes on arcs. Weapons steady. But even as he spoke, the voices multiplied. I'm here. I'm still in the attic. I'm here. I'm still in the attic. Dozens of Lenas. Some near. Some far. Some whispering from behind walls. Others sharp from above. The house filled with her voice until the real girl's cries vanished inside the chorus. The shepherd went mad, lunging at the opening, snarling so hard spit flecked the boards. His claws tore deep grooves in the steps. Control your dog, one soldier shouted, his own fear cracking. He's right, Morgan snapped. That's not normal. He shifted Lena into Alvarez's arms. Take her. Alvarez's eyes flared. What are you doing? Clearing it. Alvarez gripped Lena tight, jaw clenched. If you go up there, you might not come back. Morgan chambered around, voice like stone. If I don't, none of us do. He clipped the leash to the shepherd's harness, locking it to his own belt. The dog spun once, eyes blazing, as if he'd been waiting for that command. Morgan climbed. The attic gaped like an open wound. He raised his light slowly, cutting across joists and insulation. Shapes flickered in the beam, boxes, crates, old furniture hunched under sheets. Nothing moved. Then, in the far corner, a silhouette. Small. Curled. A child. Lena. His throat tightened. The girl above lifted her head. Dust-streaked face. Wide eyes. Tear-stained cheeks. Identical to the Lena crying below. She whispered, voice trembling. I'm still in the attic. The shepherd snarled, hackles up, body low like he was staring at prey. Behind him, the real Lena screamed. That's not me. Don't touch her. Morgan's chest locked. His mind clawed for order, for logic. One Lena in his arms minutes ago. Another staring at him from the corner. Which was real? The whispers rose again, multiplying, slamming into the walls. Every beam of light shook as soldiers flinched. I'm still in the attic. I'm still in the attic. I'm still in the attic. It was unbearable, each voice identical, each indistinguishable. The girl in the corner reached out a trembling hand. Please, help me. The shepherd lunged so violently Morgan nearly lost his balance. His snarl shook the attic itself. Morgan steadied his rifle, sight fixed between the two. His voice cut through the cacophony. Talk to me. The Lena in his arms sobbed louder. It's lying. Don't you see? It's pretending to be me. The Lena in the corner cried harder, reaching farther. He's keeping me here. Don't leave me. The attic thundered with overlapping voices, collapsing into a storm of sound. Morgan's finger tightened on the trigger. One Lena below. One Lena above. The shepherd pulled against him, snapping his jaws at the attic girl. His growl was no longer warning, it was verdict. Morgan's chest heaved. His mind screamed. He had seconds to choose. And then the whispers sharpened into one command, spoken by every voice at once, rattling the house until nails screamed in wood. Choose. The attic pressed in from all sides, heavy with dust, groaning timber, and voices that didn't belong to any one throat. Morgan crouched on the joists, rifle trembling in his hands, the shepherd snapping and dragging at his belt like a live wire. Choose, the voices demanded, layered and relentless. The sound bounced off the rafters, echoed down the stairwell, rattled through the walls. It was Lena's voice, dozens of them, each one indistinguishable from the other. The girl below clung to Alvarez, sobbing, her body shaking with terror. The girl above reached out with a trembling hand, her pale face caught in the cone of Morgan's light. Both real. Both begging. Both impossible. The shepherd lunged again, snarl tearing out of him, teeth bared toward the attic Lena. Morgan yanked back on the leash, nearly losing his balance on the joist. The dog's body was shaking with fury, every instinct locked on her as threat. Talk to me. Morgan shouted, his own voice cracking against the roar of whispers. Tell me something only you know. The Lena in Alvarez's arms gasped, choking on tears. You gave me your strap to hold on. You said I did the right thing, staying on the wood. Morgan's throat clenched. Yes, he had said that. He remembered her hands, scraped raw, clutching the joists. But then the attic Lena cried out, voice breaking. You told me not to step on the white parts. You said they wouldn't hold me. Morgan's stomach lurched. He had said that too. The whispers crashed louder, pounding into his skull. She's still in the attic. She's still in the attic. She's still in the attic. The shepherd barked savagely, a deafening crack in the small space, his whole body surging against Morgan's weight. His message was clear, danger. Morgan. Alvarez shouted from below. Pick one. We can't hold this position. Morgan's breath came ragged. Sweat stung his eyes. His finger hovered on the trigger, rifle fixed on the attic girl. Every instinct screamed conflict. His training told him to trust the dog. But his humanity, his duty, told him to save the child reaching for him, eyes wide with fear. Help me, the attic girl sobbed. Her hand stretched farther, fingers trembling. Please. Don't leave me. The real Lena, if she was real, screamed from below. It's not me. It's him. Don't touch her. Morgan's chest hammered like it would burst. He had seconds. Maybe less. He closed his eyes for a heartbeat, forcing air into his lungs. The house creaked, voices slamming into his skull, the word choose pounding like a drum. The shepherd's body stiffened, one last violent lunge pulling Morgan forward to the edge of the joist. The leash tore at his belt, the dog's judgment absolute. Morgan opened his eyes. His rifle sight locked on the attic Lena's face. Dust-streaked, eyes wide, tears cutting through grime. For a split second, she looked exactly like the girl below, same bruise on the temple, same cut on her hand, same trembling lips. Identical. The voices roared again, deafening, "Choose." Morgan's jaw clenched so hard it hurt. His finger curled. The shepherd's snarl cut into his ear. And Morgan fired. The attic erupted with sound, rifle crack splitting the rafters, dust exploding in clouds, a scream shattering the air. The attic Lena collapsed back into the shadows, her reaching hand vanishing. The voices broke into a storm of static, fractured, collapsing into silence. Morgan's ears rang. His rifle smoked. The attic lay still, nothing moving but drifting dust. The shepherd settled, growl tapering, body pressed low, but his eyes stayed fixed on the corner where the girl had fallen. Below, Lena screamed, muffled against Alvarez's chest. Not words, just a raw, heartbroken cry. Morgan's chest heaved. His hands shook around the rifle. He didn't lower it. He couldn't. Because in the silence that followed, a voice drifted out from the corner where the attic girl had fallen. Soft. Familiar. The same tone as before. "I'm still in the attic." Morgan's stomach turned to ice. He stared into the shadows, pulse pounding, every instinct screaming that the choice he'd made had solved nothing. The shot still echoed in Morgan's bones, each heartbeat dragging the sound back into his ears. The attic lay hushed, only dust spiraling through the cone of his light. The shepherd stood pressed against his thigh, chest heaving, eyes locked on the far corner where the silhouette had collapsed. "Morgan," Alvarez called from below, voice ragged. "Report." Morgan's mouth was dry. "Target down." But even as he said it, his voice felt hollow. Because the silence didn't feel like victory. It felt like waiting. He inched forward across the joists, rifle trained. The dust swirled, but no body appeared. Only insulation, boxes, and shadows. No child. No blood. No proof. "Contact negative," Morgan muttered. The shepherd growled once, deep and low, then fell into silence again, eyes unblinking. Below, Lena whimpered. "You shouldn't have shot her." Morgan's chest tightened. He glanced down. She was clinging to Alvarez, her face pale and wet with tears, staring up at him like he'd betrayed her. "She wasn't you," he said firmly, though his voice faltered on the edge. Her lips trembled. What if she was? The words cut him deeper than the recoil. He looked back to the corner. Empty. He'd fired into shadows. Shadows that still breathed. The house groaned. Somewhere in the walls, nails popped as if from pressure. Dust sifted like snow. Alvarez barked, "Morgan, get down. We're pulling out." But Morgan couldn't move. His light swept again, and for a fraction of a second, he saw it, two small handprints on the joist, pressed into the dust, fresh. One set smaller, lighter. The other heavier, smudged. Both leading deeper into the attic. He swallowed hard, bile rising. Negative. There's more. Alvarez's boots pounded the stairs. "Damn it, Morgan, this house isn't safe." Morgan backed toward the hatch, the shepherd pressed to him, every step slow. His rifle never left the corner. When his boots found the ladder, Alvarez grabbed his vest and yanked him down. The shepherd scrambled after, claws tearing grooves in the wood. They landed hard in the hallway, dust raining around them. The backup soldiers were already pulling Lena toward the door, their eyes wide, discipline stripped by the storm of whispers. "Out!" Alvarez barked. "Move!" They dragged toward the porch, every shadow in the hallway watching them. The shepherd snarled back at the stairs, refusing to turn his head. Morgan shoved Lena ahead of him, his hand tight on her shoulder. She stumbled, sobbing, her cries tearing at him. "You don't understand. He won't let me go." "We're leaving," Morgan growled. The front door burst open under Alvarez's boot, night air flooding in. Cold. Wet. Free. They spilled onto the porch, boots hammering the steps. Gravel crunched underfoot. For a heartbeat, Morgan felt the air loosen in his chest. The house sagged behind them, broken and silent. Then the radio on his vest hissed alive. Soft. Calm. Lena's voice. "I'm still in the attic." Morgan froze. The blood drained from his face. Alvarez whipped around, eyes wild. "Tell me that was playback." But Morgan's radio light glowed steady. Active channel. The whisper had come clean. Lena clung tighter to his arm, crying harder. "I told you." "He doesn't let go." The shepherd barked, sharp and violent, facing the open door of the house. His whole body shook, fur bristling, teeth flashing in the moonlight. Inside, upstairs, something moved. A step. Then another. Heavy. Certain. The team raised rifles, lights fixed on the doorway. But nothing stepped out. Only silence, thick and heavy. Morgan stood frozen, Lena pressed to his chest, the shepherd snarling beside him. His choice had been made. His round fired. His duty carried. But the house whispered still. And in that whisper, he heard not fear, not plea, just patience. "I'm still in the attic." The words bled into the night, soft as dust falling, carried on the wind until they were indistinguishable from memory itself. Morgan lowered his rifle at last. His hands shook, his chest ached, but he said nothing. Because deep down, he knew the truth: some rescues never ended. Some choices never left you.